Hey, welcome back. It's Jason again, back again with another Azure lab over here. In this one, we're going to create a file share on Azure Storage to share a drive between two virtual machines and create a backup in case those files get accidentally deleted. So first of all, we want to make a couple of virtual machines right here, and unlike last time, we want to have them have a public IP and have them be accessible from the internet. So first we'll make VM1, same as your Bootcamp resource group, and we'll do it how we usually do. Standard. This time we have an SSH key that is stored here. We're going to use that, and that is all good. Everything else we don't need to configure, so we'll do that for VM1 here. This warning says you've set an SSH port to be open to the internet, which is fine. We're doing this for testing, so we will create, and while that does that, we're going to create the second virtual machine in the exact same way. Probably should use templates for this, ARM templates, in order to deploy both, but we'll do this manually just to get the practice. And this is the key, the same key we're going to use here, and we'll review and create. It'll do the exact same thing here as far as the warning, and then we will create that. And while that does that, we will go to storage accounts and we'll create a storage account. And of course, as you know, storage account names must be unique. So we will call this storage and then put my initials on it. So storage JW, and nothing else needs to be done with this. So we can review and create that. And then create. Now we'll actually have to go into this one after it's deployed, so we'll come right back when it is made. Alright, perfect. It is now deployed, so we're going to go into the resource, and now we want to create the file share. So we'll go into data storage, file shares is right here. Then we'll create a new file share, give it a name, and we will call it app shared. And for now, everything is good with this, so we will create that. And we'll wait for that one to deploy and come right back. Alright, so we're back. So the app shared file share has been created. It says here we didn't enable backup. We will do that at some point here, so that's not really too much of a problem. So we'll go in here. You see the max capacity is 100 terabytes. We don't really need that much. So we will go here at a quota, and we'll set that to 1 gigabyte. We don't really need all that much for this demonstration right here. So now we will click on connect. And for these virtual machines, of course, we picked Ubuntu, so we're going to use Linux. And we're going to show the script here. So the mount point is going to be app shared. And this script is what we will paste into both virtual machines in order to mount this app shared directory. So we'll copy that, and you want to go into Notepad++ or Notepad and paste that in there. So take a look at a few lines right here. It's going to make a directory mount app shared. That's where the directory is going to be for the file share. I suppose credentials will be saved somewhere as well, and here it'll give it certain permissions, and more of that. If you know Bash or Linux, it'd be more literate for you there. So anyway, now we are going to use 2-git bash windows right here, and we are going to connect to both virtual machines. So we will go into VM1 and VM2. There's one IP address right there. And we will SSH into it. Let's see. Make sure it's on the same line there. And then -I, and then the public key that we already have that is now in this folder. Alright, so we're in there. And for the second virtual machine, I'm going to have to Control-C on this one. And we'll get the other git bash window right here. Paste that IP in there. Then use the same private key to get in. Put in yes. And now we have both virtual machines that are logged in here. And again, we both want them to have the file share. So we're going to go back into here. Actually, first, before we do that, we're going to take a look at all of the directories here. So we'll do -kf or -dfkh, or excuse me, dfkh, and we will see that there is no file share there. We do see mounted on mount over here, but it does not have the file share. So we're going to now copy all of this that we got in the file share area in the storage account. We'll paste it here and press enter. And now if we do dfkh here, we see that the storage account is now here, the storage JW. So we'll do the same thing here as well. If we do dfkh, we see the file share there as well. So that there went perfect. And all right, so now we're going to create a bunch of text files right here to put into the file share right here. So we've got a couple of commands right here that will make 5 text files in the mount/app shared file share right here. That will just create text contents of file 1 through 5. So let's go to that directory there and ls and see what we have here. All 5 files are there. We can do the same thing on the other virtual machine since it also has the directory here. So we've got all 5 files there. Now we're going to go back to the storage account right here. Data storage, file shares, go into app shared. And then once we click on browse, we will see all 5 of the text files are there. All right, so now we want to create a backup in case that a couple of these files or all of these files get deleted by accident. So we're going to go down to backup here, And we tried to do this before, but I think it was set on select existing. So we want to create a new backup vault. That's what we want to do. So we vault 998, giving it an automatic name here. We can keep this backup policy. It shows the details right here that the backup frequency will be daily at 7:30 UTC time. And we're going to disable this because at the end we want to be able to actually delete this without any issue. So we're going to enable the backup right there. And of course, it'll take some time to deploy. So when it's all good, looks like it's almost all good, but when it is all good, it'll come right back. All right, looking good. The backup has been deployed. So now we're going to click on, or take a look at the vault right here. Click on monitoring, and it'll go down to backup jobs. And both of these are completed. Sometimes they take some time to get done, but we see that the backup has been configured that we just did, and registering the storage account is what we did at the very beginning. So that is all good. Let us go back to the storage account and go down to back to data storage, file shares, to app shared, to take a look at the backup. And it says here, the last backup status, we're still waiting for the initial backup, but we do not want to wait for the sake of the video, so we are going to back up now. So you retain backup till, that's completely fine. We'll delete this at the end anyway. And we press OK. And now the backup is being triggered. So once the backup is done, we will come right back. A lot of waiting in this lab. All right, so the backup has been conducted. So we're going to go over here. All right, so the backup has been conducted. So now we're going to go into Recovery Services Vault to take a look at our vault. Go back into Monitoring, Backup Jobs. And as we can see here, the backup that we initiated just a bit ago is now there. So all 5 files have now been backed up. Now we're going to go back into the storage account. And inside file shares, we will go to snapshots, which we already are in. And this is the backup that we created just a bit ago. And it is there, and it has all 5 of our files there. So there's a difference there between the snapshots and the backup. So as we take a look here, we click on backup, we see that the backup was successful and all 5 files are now backed up. So now if we go into one of our virtual machines, but I think this does work. So we'll actually do it like this. So once the files come back, or actually, yeah, once the files come back, we're actually going to restore all of them at once, since there's something going on with the files here. Not too sure what's going on, but we'll do it this way once all the files recover. We've got all 5 files here. Let's see if it will now delete the file that I want there. And this time it seems to be working. Not too sure if I typed something in wrong there previously, but now we've deleted the files that we want to have deleted. And let us see what is remaining. And we can see that in the other virtual machine. So file 2 and 5 have been deleted from the file share, and now I've done this several times here for whatever reason, but we'll go to browse here on the SMB file share. We see that file 2 and 5 have both been deleted. So now we want to restore the backup, which I've done several times here. We are going to restore the share and click on the restore point. We only have one, that's the snapshot we saw previously. So we're going to press OK here. There's also an area right here where we can restore to an alternate location or the original location. And if there is a file with the same name, we can either overwrite it or we can skip in case there's a conflict. There is no conflict here, so we'll just restore. And as we can see here at the right, I've had to take a look at this to see what has been going on for the past couple of backups where for whatever reason all the files just disappear. So we'll take a look at that as well in just a little bit, but we have triggered the restore, and now when it's all set we will come right back. Alright, perfect. So we're back. So before we only saw 3 text files in the browse area right here. Now we have 5 again, and if we take a look at the virtual machine again, we should have all 5 of our text files here, which we do. The backup restore got us both of our text files back, and if we go back into our recovery services vaults, I had it open at the same time when I was doing this. I don't know if that caused the files to go away, but we go into our vault here. Immutability is disabled, so we can actually delete this at the end. And we go to backup jobs. As we can see here, I've done a couple of restores trying to figure out why all of the files were leaving and were all gone, but we're all good there. So that is how you restore files using Azure Backup on your virtual machines. At the end, to tear all this down, you can delete your storage account. Make sure there are no locks on it. If there are, then you're going to have to go in to locks and delete the lock that is here if there is a lock, because if you just try to delete it willy-nilly, then it'll start yelling at you. You got to do a couple of things. If you want as well, you can export a template for either your storage accounts or your virtual machines, just to quick make these, since the configuration is pretty simple on that end. So anyway, this is Jason. We'll see you for the next Microsoft Azure Lab. In this one, we created files, created backups, a backup and a snapshot of those files, deleted a few files, and then restored the backup to get those files back. See you next time.